President Trump has made some questionable friends since becoming president of the United States. So look at this. A Saudi cleric called him a servant of Allah this week. Oh boy. Yeah, the first thing that came to mind when I read that headline was, Trump repeatedly on the campaign trail saying, say it with me, folks, radical Islamic terrorism. And now you have Saudi clerics who, remember, official Wahhabi state, Salafi state, so the most ultra-conservative, right-wing, literalist interpretation of Islam. They're praising him. So the people who have that toxic ideology are like, servant of Allah. Now, why would they say that? There's many reasons why they'd say that, but one of the most important ones is he's decided, I'm going to keep helping you destroy Yemen. I'm going to keep arming you to the tune of billions of dollars, and we're going to keep assisting you, aiding you, and bombing innocent civilians in Yemen, and doing a blockade of them, which is making it so that 17 million people are starving right now, as we speak. Literally. So, partners in crime, servant of Allah. The great Donald Trump. Okay, but now I have another story for you. Take a look at this. Saudi Arabia plans to invest $40 billion in U.S. infrastructure. What? Saudi Arabia plans on investing up to $40 billion in U.S. infrastructure, according to a new report. The spending could be announced as early as next week during President Trump's first visit there, Bloomberg said Thursday. Bloomberg said the investment would come from Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund. People familiar with the matter told the news outlet that no final decision has been made, and the announcement may still be delayed. A White House official confirmed to Bloomberg that the plan is in the works, citing White House senior advisor Jared Kushner's role in the talks. Kushner is President Trump's son-in-law and is widely considered one of his closest confidants. Trump announced last week that he will visit Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the Vatican during his first foreign trip as president later this month. The president added that his decision to visit the centers of three of the world's major faiths aims at rallying allies against shared security threats in the Middle East. Trump will visit Saudi Arabia May 19th, where he will convene a historic gathering of leaders from all across the Muslim world. We will begin to construct a new foundation of cooperation and support with our Muslim allies to combat extremism and terrorism and violence and to embrace a more just and hopeful future for Muslims in their countries, he said at the White House. The gathering in Saudi Arabia will also include leaders of Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and other nations. Trump campaigned extensively on upgrading U.S. roads, bridges, airports, and other public works last year. The president has since proposed a $1 trillion infrastructure package as one of his chief agenda items. Okay. By the way, the problem with that is his whole idea was privatize it all. So that it's an infrastructure deal, but not really, because you're privatizing all of it, which is just a giveaway to his buddies who are in the industry. But let's put that aside and focus on the rest of it here real quick. He's meeting with them to discuss shared security goals. Okay, Saudi Arabia, they're the chief exporter of terrorism. They're the ones who, did you know they said, we're not going to take any Syrian refugees, but what we will do is go to Europe, and then we'll pay for mosques for them. So they want to create extremist, Salafist mosques, but we don't want to take any refugees or anything like that. Go to Europe. Are you kidding me? Oh, shared security threats. They are the security threat. Saudi Arabia is the security threat. They treat women as second-class citizens. They behead people for drug smuggling and apostasy and sorcery and witchcraft. Are you kidding me? They say that all atheists are terrorists. You're going to meet with them to discuss shared security concerns? Are you going to bring up atheists? Hey, we got this atheist problem, and they're all terrorists, am I right? Maybe we should round them up. Say it with me, folks. Radical Islamic terrorism. Let's work with those terrorists, and let's be best friends with them, and let's make deals with them. And then he also brings up Israel. Oh, shared security concerns. How about the security concern that Israel is? They just keep jacking more and more Palestinian land, violating international law brazenly, doing oppression and apartheid. We gotta talk with them. Oh my God. They frame it like we're the victims. The greatest superpower that ever existed ever, the United States of America, who invades countries that don't attack us all the time, doing 7 interventions right now, a current occupier and brazen violator of international law, and the Salafi terror state, and they're framing it as, we're the victims. Oh, we got to discuss our shared terror threats. And of course what they'll do is, Iran, big bad Iran, oh my god, they run everything and they're so scary. It's so stupid. But to the infrastructure thing, I don't want your fucking money. Here's a crazy idea, Don. How about instead of continuing the unnecessary war in Afghanistan and the unnecessary war in Iraq and the 7 different interventions we're doing right now, how about you take that money, which would come to way more than $40 billion, and you take that money and invest it in the United States of America. You get us clean water in Flint, Michigan. You upgrade our infrastructure, which is right now a grade of D+, according to the Society of Civil Engineers. You don't need dirty blood money from Saudi Arabia. The fuck is this? Well, there's a reason why they want to do stuff like this, because they're buying daddy's approval. Here, daddy, take $40 billion and continue to help us as we bomb innocent civilians in Yemen, and we blockade a country where we starve 17 million people, and we keep exporting Wahhabism and Salafism around the world and jihadism. So this is what that is. This is what that is. Oh, we have a deal with them, and they love us, and we love them, and let's continue our path of destruction and Islamic supremacy. That's what Saudi Arabia represents. It's not an open-minded fucking liberal version like in Indonesia, for example. No, it's the most extreme version, and he's in bed now with that. Donald Trump is. Jared Kushner negotiated. Who the fuck asked Jared Kushner? Was he elected? Was he approved? He's the fucking son-in-law of the president. The poster boy of nepotism. And now he's cutting deals with Saudi Arabia where we're taking $40 billion from them? Again, you want to invest in U.S. infrastructure? Agreed. Do a Wall Street transaction tax, for example. There's a way to raise some money. Stop spending unnecessarily on pork barrel projects. Stop with the $80 billion a year you give to big banks. Stop bailing out Wall Street. Stop with the military-industrial complex. They said they want to increase military spending by $54 billion when we already spend the most in the world by far and away. We spend more than the next 9 biggest countries combined. But we want to increase military spending by $54 billion, but we need to take $40 billion from Saudi Arabia to rebuild our infrastructure. What kind of a sick fucking... The system is so corrupt and so rotten, and we're in bed with the worst actors, and in some ways we are the worst actor, and they act like this is something to fucking celebrate. Like, let's have a party, yeah, we took blood money from a terror state, yoo-hoo!